So we've spent enough time in the slides. Let's go ahead and get into some demonstrations. The first thing I'd like to show you here is the Modernizer website. And Modernizer is a JavaScript library that we'll use in order to enable detection. Now, when you intend to use HTML5, you want to make sure that the feature that you're focusing on is available within the platform and also the browser that you're working with. Well, Modernizer is a JavaScript library that allows you to find out if the certain features that you're looking for are available. One thing it does not do is try to supplement any missing behavior within a browser. There's other JavaScript libraries you can use for that, but for right now, we'll just focus on detection of trying to figure out whether or not the items that you're looking for or the functionality that you're looking for will be available within the browser. So the demonstration I'm about to show you uses the library at modernizer.com. So before I begin talking about the code that you see before you, I just want to make a note about the environment that you see here. I'm using Visual Studio in order to manage the files for all of the demonstrations found in this series. Now, please understand, everything that I'll show you is client-side code. There's no sort of server processing. There's no need to use Visual Studio for any of the code samples I'm doing. I'm using it just because it's the ID that I'm used to working with, and also it gives me a chance to have statement completion and line numbering and all of the nice things that we like about IDEs. But I just want to reiterate, none of the code that I'm writing requires any sort of dependency on any IDE, and Visual Studio included. Now, the whole key to using the Modernizer library are use of its global variables found in the library. So you'll notice here, all I have to do is call modernizer.canvas, and this detects whether or not the browser that I'm running supports Canvas. So if I view this in a browser, and this will bring it up in Chrome, you can see that I get an alert box popping up that says true. That means that the Canvas tag is supported within Chrome. So let's head back over to the IDE. And it's just this simple. There's one exception when you're detecting whether or not the browsers support font face, where it requires a callback in order for you to do the detection because of the way Internet Explorer loads things in, and Modernizer is kind of working its way around it. But for the most part, for each one of the functionalities that Modernizer supports, all you have to do is take a look at the Boolean property off the Modernizer library in order to figure out whether or not you can use that feature. So the next thing I want to show you is a file that I created that lists all the pieces of functionality that Modernizer supports and displays whether or not the browser is able to handle it. So if we take a look at Firefox, you can see here that this page just puts a checkbox if the functionality is supported in the browser, and it gives us the X if it's not supported. So generally, Firefox does an okay job until you get down to some of the new input types and on down the line. But I'll leave it to you to go to the Modernizer website in detail to look at each one of these that are available. But when you run this code that accompanies this series, you'll be able to run it in your environment and find out which one is necessary. But if you'll notice, I'll kind of go through each one here. Here's Opera. And Opera does, again, a fair job of supporting the different features that are found within HTML5 that Modernizer supports. Safari, again, actually does pretty good until you get down, again, into the input types, not quite implemented yet. And Chrome probably does the best job of implementing the features detected by HTML5. Again, the input types are a little rough, and on down the line. The one that still is lagging behind, and understand that Internet Explorer is still in beta, but the beta version as of December 2010 still has a lot to be desired as far as what's being implemented. And I would expect this to change quite a bit when we get closer to the release date. But as you can see here, you can run this file within the different browsers and get an idea visually of which features are supported within each browser.